All right, I'd like to welcome Kadmil from Lido. Thank you very much, man.
Hello. Does it work? Oh, okay. Good afternoon. I think everyone is a bit could happen to be a bit tired, so I'm trying to speak louder at very least. So my name is Kadmil. My talk is about holding gate a little bit, and it's about how to make protocols DeFi is working on and cryptocurrency space in general is working on more secure in one particular and very special case. So without further ado, let's move forward. That's me. I work for I'm like the DAO contributor. Helping with DAO Ops team. So that's a particular team doing stuff in regards to preparing votes, maintaining general governance guidance, and a lot of stuff around DAO governance and protocols governance in general. So that's me. One thing I have to note: the theme of this talk is dual governance. I'll discuss what it is in a second, but I'm more of a messenger. The team has been through significant research for quite some time. If you want to catch up, check out Sam's talk about dual governance from last October. Bunch of links would be shared afterwards either way, but significant thing to note, we have people actually building the design and doing the research. I'm working more as presenter, project manager, so credit where credit's due. And things I would be touching upon are significant team's work. So let's move to our theme. One of the things which is very unique to cryptocurrency and to DeFi in particular is the ability to make sure users have ultimate exit rights. Some protocols implement poison pills, so basically are willing to sacrifice protocols' liveness in order for the token holders to be made whole. So that's very high ideal, and there are multiple ways to implement it. And in every case, one has to think how to do it properly. And Lido being liquid staking protocol on top of Ethereum, Lido on Ethereum being liquid staking protocol, it has if we want to have to give STF holders ultimate exit rights, we have to think for a couple quirks. And the system we are designing and are looking to implement is called dual governance. Why dual? Usually when you say there are two tokens, there is LDO token, which is like the DAO governance token, which has voting rights, and ultimately every time DAO Ops team says, okay, this decision is up for the DAO to make, it means that only way to pass through, only way for something to be enacted and implemented is for the DAO token holders to come together, under specified quorum criteria and whatnot, and actually actively support the motion. That said, LDO governance has ultimate rights upon upgradable contracts, which Lido on Ethereum liquid staking protocol constitutes. And there is inherent potential conflict between LDO token holders who can ultimately, and here me being very technical, as long as contracts are upgradable, LDO can have a motion to upgrade contracts in a way which basically says, okay, now all user cipher is LDO cipher, which doesn't sound well. Doesn't sound good. And while ossifying the protocol in general, is a direction the contributors are looking towards, given the flexibility and given the liveness of Ethereum and the fact that the network itself changes, ossification is not a way forward as of now, and quite likely not even foreseeable future. So upgradability and changeability of the protocol is here to stay. So basically, the question becomes, how do we make STF vote count and in what sense does it does it work? So dual governance is a mechanics allowing to STF to prevent LDO governance from changing social contract between STF holders and DAO without their consent. What is this? I'll try to explain. I'll explain mechanics in a second, but basically, dual governance is three things on the single implementation. First of all, it's dynamically induced time lock. I'll touch upon it in a second, but this is the time for users to say, "Oh, hold on, we need to talk." This is a negotiations vehicle between STF and LDO. So basically, that's a way for STF to publicly, to effectively voice, "Okay, I don't like what you're trying to do." And ultimately, that's a rage quit mechanics which would allow STF holders to safely exit the protocol in case of significant contention. In essence, what dual governance is about as a mechanics. We are looking to introduce a specific vault, which STF holders can deposit their STF to. It has two main thresholds. First threshold is wait a minute kind of thing. Basically, once there is enough STF to cross the first threshold, execution of governance motions is paused up to some maximum time lock. It's dynamic. But in essence, that's the first seal, the first threshold, which allows STF to come into negotiation space. And ultimately, if enough STF, way higher volume of STF is locked in dual governance vault, rage quit mechanics starts. Basically, it pauses governance motions from being executed up to a moment where all the STF from dual governance vault is safely withdrawn. Scenario-wise, what does it allow for? If, for instance, LDO, there is a malicious actor with enough LDO to get to the quorum, and they motion to upgrade the protocol so that they can withdraw all the user cipher, or all withdrawals of user cipher would go to their address. Technically, imagine this situation. STF holders, once some of them notice the motion, can deposit to pause the governance motion from being executed fast, and minimal time lock, and then enter negotiation phase. So either more STF gets locked into the vault, and ultimately trigger rage quit and can safely exit before the malicious motion is could be executed, or as a second option, enough LDO gathers around and saying, okay, there is a lever to cancel or schedule to motions, and LDO can say, okay, we don't want that. We are canceling all the motions. There is no risk at the moment. Unpausing the governance. So, there is a de-escalation path. That's mechanics in a nutshell. But in general, it yields quite it asks quite a lot of questions. So we're running through a bunch of properties we want the design to hold. So we want, first and foremost, the goal is to give STF way for safe exit. We don't want at the same time for STF holders, which had users of Lido on Ethereum protocol product, to be overburdened with governance. So you have as an STF holder, you have an option to do something, but not too many options, let's say. The mechanics shall have a de-escalation path. Why is it important? The thresholds shall be quite significant, and one could expect, not designed for, but expect actors to be more or less rational in that regard, economically rational, as in old economic books. So having a way for the situation to de-escalate without breaking the thing, to burning the thing to the ground, sounds like a valuable thing to have. To others, dual governance should not like follow the regular paths of execution. So day-to-day operations shall be going like smooth and don't trigger it. Why is it important? In general, like on Ethereum protocol have been designed so that it can hold like significant withdrawals. The biggest like chunk of withdrawals had shown through was something akin to 400,000 ETH. Is ETH being withdrawn in a matter of week or two, if I recall correctly. So basically, we don't want we want the protocol to be able to hold significant variance in user activity while not affecting governance by contention. And the last, this like even in short recollection sounds like a pretty complex thing, and what it should be solving for is to not open new vulnerabilities, new like vectors of attack, to a degree possible, and like not to open attack vectors which are just as expensive as the current ones. This is the simplest one can get. There would be a proper link, a proper QR to zoom in, and quite a lot of things to explain what the hell is going on here. Gist is, it's like been quite a while in the research. I'll talk about it in a second. This is the security conference in the end, so I want to show that like we are working on something earning for. Okay, folks, make sure it's secure. One could ask, what the hell? Why are you trying to make something as horrendously scary? Have you looked into alternatives? We actually have. So there are like initial ideas of what one can, like Venus of research, we went through and found them unsatisfactory. One can say, okay, just do a time lock. Why it's not a proper case? Because, as I've mentioned, like Lido in Ethereum is a liquid staking protocol, and ultimately you have to have a time lock long enough for any ETH to get safely withdrawn to Ether. It doesn't work well because in worst case scenario, withdrawal of like all the protocols, all the like Lido's Ether from staking could take like say a year, and having time lock for every governance motion for by a year like just doesn't work. Why don't you just like plug in the multisig? That's like practical solution many projects go for. But in general, that's not allowing ETH folks to like to voice their opinion. That's still proxy of a proxy of a proxy, which potentially creates another conflict of interests, which lays outside of smart contracts domain, but still lays but still is there. So that a committee of sorts doesn't sound like the best possible direction. And one of ideas which like you can imagine while here in dual governance, say, okay, so now ETH has the right to vote, and that's not what you want. That's not what one could expect ETH holders to want. Why? Because they want liquid staking token to be usable in DeFi, to be usable for their interests, and not as like something to bear in mind and participate actively in governance unless something like really bad is happening. Oh, wow. Sorry. Okay. That said, like by this, you may have noticed, I don't expect so, that there are multiple steps into flow diagram and multiple gadgets and parties and whatnot in the overall design. One of particular things is it's called tiebreaker committee. So overall mechanics, there are two gadgets to current Lido on Ethereum protocol and dual governance. One is gate seal. This is the safety net allowing to pause withdrawals in order for the governance to like mitigate potential bug in the protocol. And the dual governance is looking to pause withdrawals, pause governance unless withdrawals work. So those two are inherently in conflict, may get into conflict. and may get deadlocked. So in the pretty much unlikely case of both things happening at the same time, or in the case of dual governance getting blocking governance motions for say a year or something like that, we're looking to introduce a tiebreaker committee, like the very big and very slow, very reputable community participation vehicle, being able to say, okay, this is the LDO motion to upgrade the thing, so it's repaired, and there is a lot of STF holders suffering as a result of deadlock. Let's do that. Let's execute this particular thing and not anything else. There is another thing. Basically, having protocols governance geared through the new pretty complex technical solution is inherently scary. So we're looking to have time-bounded margin of safety committee, basically safety fuse to mitigate zero-day, potential zero-day vulnerability, switching protocols governance from dual governance implementation back to Aragon to have things patched and reinstalled. I'll try to speed up in a second. That's all interesting, but what is the status? What are we looking at? The team has spent about a year and a half of research. There is a long trail of thought and trail of comms about it on Lido Research Forum. But currently, we are gearing towards proposing the design by the DAO as a snapshot vote, as a vote of okay, folks, this direction seems promising. There are mechanism design, technical architecture, and a code draft published on GitHub. So that's the first link. There is a proper explainer. So not my hasty thoughts and couple slides, but a proper plain English explanation of what the hell is going on. And if you would be, once you would be looking to engage, I think that's the best starting point we have right now. And the status, the DAO Ops team would be proposing the snapshot vote by the DAO on next Thursday, April 18th. So announcement is published on forum as well. This is security conference, so I wanted to mention what is in plans if conditioned by the DAO's approval. Right now, team has ongoing spec review by two third parties, Certora and runtime verification teams. We would be looking to have a bunch of code level audits as well as two different kinds of formal verification of the code, because as I said, that's a big thing and a really scary project to carry on. And on a separate note, we are looking to have parameters research, because having mechanics is one thing, knowing what exact numbers to put in is another. So for all of that, that's only external things we are looking to do. We have a lot of internal processes and checklists to go through, but that's the gist of it. So please get in touch. The whole point of all this talk is something very pretty interesting is going on with Lido governance. So there is a link to the forum post with all the links I've shared. And if you want to talk directly, ping me in Telegram. I'm more than up for speaking about. One particular thing I wanted to note specifically for ETHDam, I'm looking to have grants for explainers. Basically run through what we have, explain it as a Twitter thread, and if it doesn't have technical errors and if it does a good job, I'm more than up to give up to free prizes for explainers. Ping me. Thank you so much for attention.
Thanks very much. Got time.
Thank you so much. I have a question that is twofold, sort of. So first I was thinking, why don't you just have one token? And if you decide to have two tokens and you are worried about that the STETH holders will not be able to vote in the current system, if you have some investors that are not that don't want to vote, they can just buy the STETH token. And if you have investors that want to have STETH and also some governance, they could just buy some Lido token. So that was my question. What is the reason not to go with sort of that model?
I mean, that's the initial design of the protocol in DAO, because those are two different things. And the DAO does multitude of things and can manage multiple protocols. So STETH being a product of Lido on Ethereum is one thing, and governability of this thing is another one. So basically, there is a distinction between the roles and actors and whatnot. So that's an inherent thing. I don't think like I don't have any further comment here. Like, we are working in a world where there is LDO governance, and STETH is a product of protocol governed by LDO. It doesn't make sense to have them as a singular one.
Okay. No, but given that, then the STETH holders could also acquire Lido.
Yeah, of course. But it could be too late. And interests of like participating in governance actively and just being safe are very different. And there is order of magnitude, a threshold to that level of engagement, let's say.
Thanks for the, yeah.
So one last like punchline here could be, one doesn't need to be long LDO in order to be happy STETH holder. So that's the main point. Sorry?
Thanks for your presentation, super cool ideas. What I want to ask you maybe to zoom out a second and sort of take us back in time and show us like the governance evolution. How would you bootstrap a similar structure from day zero? Like, it's kind of, you have a lot of time and work and the elaborate, governance diagram, and there's many motions. So we're in, time t plus 27. I'm interested in like time. What was the initial setup? Like, what was the sort of get-go? If it's a committee thing, multi-sig thing, or okay. Thanks for the answer.
That's the answer. That's what we have right now. There are like LDO can like participate in different voting systems, and like why it's so cumbersome. There is active voting system which is like made through Aragon votes, so it's something requiring active participation of LDO voters. And there is ETHDam. I've made a talk about it 2 years before in Amsterdam, so can shoot you a link. But basically, not every single decision could go through the whole DAO vote, so we've designed something else. All that have been designed, is being designed to mitigate potential attack vectors, and governance attacks are one of the scariest of them. So that's basically it.
Thank you very much. That was excellent.
Thank you so much.